Nine.com.
All right, listen. Welcome in on a Monday. How are y'all? I'm Matt Beavers here. It's a reaction Monday. It's all on the table. I kind of take the show, put it in your lap. What did you watch? What are you up in arms about after the weekend? I'll tell you this much. Don't you dare try to tell me that you're not a fan of the NFL. Come on! What did we say about the Chiefs? Don't be surprised if they figure it out just in time to make a run. Woo, boy. And look, I mean, we were within 30 minutes of staring a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl right in the eyeballs. What'd you think about the games, too? What's your reaction? Get it on in here. Chiefs were able to limit the Ravens' offense, and they didn't even have Willie Gay, Starkville, Mississippi, Hail State, who is kind of their spy on defense because of the type of athlete that he is. He's usually the guy that draws that responsibility. And even without Willie Gay, Chiefs defense holds Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to one offensive touchdown, and it was in the first half. And no, we're not here to talk about Taylor Swift and Swifties, okay? That's not a part. Take it somewhere else. Good or bad, love it, hate it, like it, complaining, whatever. We're not here to talk about that, okay? But I saw a little bit of the old Travis Kelce back yesterday. Didn't you see it? Yeah. Saucy, kind of love him if he's on your team, but if he's on the other team, can't stand the guy, Travis Kelce. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He's not really been that sort of guy. And you speculate as to why throughout the year, talked about it. He still played well, had 2 touchdowns last week in the divisional. Here he is in the championship, the AFC championship, played great, made some unreal plays. Yeah, but, the attitude was back. The attitude was back just to a little bit. And look, okay, what was it, 27? Was it 27 unanswered points for the Niners? For Beavers, 49ers, a return trip to the Super Bowl. And Beaver, I guess that means the big Mr. T 49ers chain, the Flavor Flav 90s rap chain, is going to return around your neck for the next 2 weeks, right?
Yes, it is, and you and I are enemies for 2 weeks.
We're enemies, 2 weeks and a few hours. Yep. Because you remember, Beaver, what happened the last time that these two teams, your team and my team, met in the Super Bowl? Remember what happened?
I do.
How would you describe it?
For me personally?
Yeah, from your perspective.
It was heartbreaking. It hurt my heart and my head.
Well, all I know was, I just remember how the first half of that Super Bowl went. What was it, 40 or 51? 4, 3, 2? What was it? I can't remember which Super Bowl it was. I know it was a few years ago. They played it in Miami. And in the first half of that game, Jimmy G and and sorry to bring up that memory, by the way, of 49ers. Jimmy G and the 49ers were cleaning the Chiefs' clock. They were wiping the floor with them. It was a blowout. And then the second half was all Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City. Come back, win the game. And it's a little bit like what the 49ers did yesterday to the Lions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 27 unanswered points, I think it was. And so, one surface level debate you could have, and probably have if you watched it and you're a fan of the NFL, probably one conversation you have is like, okay, did the 49ers come back and win it, or did Detroit just blow it? And I honestly think there's a little bit of both. I was talking with my dad this morning on the phone about the games, and he and I had some similar observations too when it came to what the Ravens did on offense, or didn't do, I should say, with Lamar Jackson. Which was a little confusing. And then, in the Lions game, some of the things you pin it on. Okay, and I will say this too. All right, Annabeth and Mary Liddy, they did not get to watch the first half of the Lions and 49ers game. They had choir practice at church, and but Annabeth was with me for the second half of the game. And I'm just going to, without any context whatsoever, I'm going to give you one of Annabeth's quotes, okay, during the second half of the ballgame. She said out loud, "Listen, I'm a girl, and even I know you ought to kick a field goal in that situation." Okay, so that's what she said. All right, so we'll get to some of those decisions and otherwise. But first, on this Reaction Monday, welcome into the show in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance all across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, that's your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents. And here in the Bureau today, you can text, you can call, you can comment on the live stream. Hope you'll do that. Hey to you, by the way. Hey, everybody. On the live stream, on YouTube and Facebook, and out there in X land. So wherever you're watching the live stream, you can type in a comment, hit comment, post it, and I can see all of it right here, and we can be a part of the show that way. Danny comments first out of the gates on YouTube on the Murray West live thread, says, "Howdy, Matt, from Ringgold, Georgia, where it is still cold." We had a couple days, where it did nothing but rain, and it was kind of muggy almost and warm, Danny, but you may be like us. We're back down in the 30s in North Mississippi. I mean, it's warming up during the day, but like getting cold at night. It's just kind of got a little chill in the air. I think we're going to have that. At least the sun will be out, but we'll have some of that. Jeff commented on YouTube and said, "Hey, Matt, Hail State and bang, bang, hashtag Go Niners." Sven, way across the pond over there, he's in Germany. He said, "Hail State, everyone. Detroit blew it, and they should have beaten San Francisco." All right, so more of your comments. Get them on in here. We'll get to those. You can also text me on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. It is the best sausage, hands down. All right, the number to text the show. We're live today. So you text, I'm going to see it. We'll get it in here on the show. Comments, questions, opinions, otherwise. The number, 885-3776. Got it? That's a 601 number, 885-3776. Another way to remember it is just 885-ESPN. That'll help you get on in here. And call me. Also, I get to hear your voice. I'd love to chat it up on this Reaction Monday. Call me on the Divini Equipment phone line. The number to call, 99, scratch that, reverse it, 897-1059. I mean, old habits die hard now. 897-1059. That's the number to call. Again, 601-897-1059. Grumpy texts the show on the Country Pleasin' text line, said, "Matt, another great MSU basketball win. State beat Auburn." That's right, at home. That's 2 wins at home over top 10 teams. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. Why can't anybody win on the road? Now, I'm not taking an Auburn perspective here, but I'm saying I think it speaks to how tough the SEC really is. It is a tough basketball league right now because, I mean, lots of teams are very different at home versus on the road. And listen, anybody that knows basketball and any of us that don't really know it can look at Auburn and tell, like, they're legit good. Okay, they were ranked, 8th, 7th. What was their rank? I think it was 6th, somewhere in there in the top 10. But you can look at them and go, okay, I get it. From guards and ball handling to shooting to perimeter to big and depth and length and defense and rebounding and run. And like Auburn's got everything and can definitely make a run. And look at them. They went to Tuscaloosa the other night, lost to a quote-unquote unranked Alabama team. Not that we care if they're ranked or not. because you're going to put 68 teams in a tournament. Who cares what they're ranked? But they go to Tuscaloosa. Bama clips them. They turn around and go straight to Starkville the following Saturday. State wins that one. Tennessee went in there and lost at State earlier. LSU went into Tuscaloosa the other night, and Alabama puts up over 100. Now, Ole Miss went on the road, beat Texas A&M. That's a good road win. Any road win, you're happy with it. But we'll look at some of those numbers. Grumpy also said, Grumpy knew this would be a great weekend with Grumpy's Country Please and Original Juniors and Slaw. Grumpy was a Swiftie in the first game, but will be pulling for San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Grumpy wants to know what Rooster's thoughts are on the Super Bowl. And signed, Hail State. Appreciate the text from Grumpy. And I think that actually might be the first time that we've had someone text the show asking Rooster to call in and give his opinion. And there it is, right there in front of you. Yeah, listen, just, a few things off. I don't know how y'all felt about it. Were you surprised at all by the outcome? I kind of felt like, everybody was picking on the side of Baltimore. Ravens are at home. They have a tremendous home field deal there. Their crowds are super underrated in Baltimore for the Ravens games. They've been so good. They were, I think, 6-2. Had played 8 home games and won 6 of them at home this year. 13-win team. And they had clearly been we say the best, but they had clearly been the most consistent AFC team throughout the year, right? Clearly. And so there should have been an advantage. And you notice on the television coverage, the whole TV panel of guys, they all picked Baltimore to win the game, except I think it was Boomer Esiason was the only one who picked the Chiefs. And, I see it. No point in being a homer about it, especially when you're riding along with a Super Bowl or 2 in your pocket. It was a few years ago and then one last year, and trying to go back-to-back and everything. There's plenty of cred. You don't need a big pat on the back if you're on the side of the Chiefs. But the deal was, just like we talked about last week, there is something about the combination of Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, with the other cast, like Kelsey and others. Talking about the offense. But, look at them defensively. Look at how good the Chiefs have been defensively this year. One of the best, if not the best, pass defense, all those things. So when you looked at it, when you tried to brush away, just look at the matchup, which is including how the Chiefs are playing right now, their history, and the fact that they got a quarterback and a head coach who, for recent years here, in the postseason, step up and make these special plays and special moments more than anybody else. And just, it's easy to sit here and recite all this stuff to you after a win, but we were reciting it last week on this show. Whatever Brady and Belichick and the Patriots had those years, that element, okay, we're not saying the Chiefs have reached that level. You got to win a bunch more, right, to reach that level. Certainly. But they're on the path. Okay, the opportunities are now coming. Been to 3, 1, 2. Now you're going to a 4th. Here's a chance to win back-to-back. The only other team that's won back-to-back Super Bowls recent history are those Patriots, 20 years ago. Well, that extra little some sort of magic, I don't even know exactly how you define it. How would you define it? Really, if you're you don't have to be a Chiefs fan, but how would you define it? We use the word clutch a lot. and I don't know how you would say that there's been any quarterback recent NFL history this side of Tom Brady that has had more of a clutch gene than Patrick Mahomes. Now, let's see. Maybe the 49ers win it, and maybe Brock Purdy either gets hot with his arm or do like he did last night and make 3 plays with his legs that are incredible, that kind of flip the game. And maybe you start talking about someone else. But to this point, it's Patrick Mahomes, man. And so you couldn't count him out. And they go in there, okay, and give up defensively to that Ravens offense and that quarterback, and everybody hollering about him being an MVP, and give up one touchdown in the early first quarter, and that's it. Stop after stop after stop. You know, again, I was talking with my dad about this morning on the phone. He said, okay, so what's your opinion on this deal? And I said, well, one thing about it, you know, just looking at it from an X's and O's, it confused me about what the Ravens were doing was to try so little to intentionally get Lamar Jackson involved in running the ball. That's one thing that confused me, right? Because you look at Chiefs defense, you know, they've been good just all around, but they don't necessarily hang their hat as a run defense. They've got one of the best pass defenses in the NFL, if not the best. Got excellent pass rush. You always get clutch pass rush out of Chris Jones, third down stuff and otherwise. You know, and so you're playing them with Lamar Jackson and with that offensive line in Baltimore, with that run game. And, you know, again, looking at the television screen, I don't know what Spagnuolo was able to do on the defensive side to convince the Ravens to continue to just throw the ball and throw and throw and throw and throw some more and throw some more. I don't really know what that was. I know that in the early going, it was being defended, and even though the Chiefs weren't necessarily having to load up the line of scrimmage, you weren't getting a ton of, you know, big chunk runs. But to almost just get away from it in the game, and it's not like it was a high-scoring game. It's not like it was a high-scoring shootout type of deal. You know, so at the end of the ball game, for Lamar Jackson to have 8 rushing attempts versus 37 pass attempts, tell me who would have thought that would be a winning formula for that quarterback against that defense, given their identities. You see what I'm saying? And I know that over the course of his career, Lamar Jackson, a lot of his rush stuff is not necessarily a called running play. I get it. I understand that. You know, maybe it's a tuck and run. You know, maybe it's you break pressure and here you go. Well, still, even there were instances, if you watch the game, there were instances in the second half, specifically some third down stuff, where like, if you were rooting against the Chiefs or for the Ravens, I promise you were screaming at TV, run, run. Why doesn't Lamar Jackson run right there? And I don't know what the deal was. I don't know how you, with that quarterback against that defense, I don't know how you only have 8 between himself and the calls, how you only have 8 opportunities for him to run the ball. I don't understand how you do that. Okay, and prime example would be that second half deal, right, where it was 3rd and 1, I think it was. I think it was 3rd and 1. And they're going for it. They're on their own end of the field, sure, but they're trying to throw the ball on 3rd and 1. And I think it was the same play where the play got extended. He extended it and broke the pocket, and instead of going and trying to run for it, he's still trying to look for somebody to dump the ball to. You're covered. Run. And like I'm telling you, if you were a Ravens fan yesterday, I guarantee you were scratching your head as to why is Lamar Jackson not involved in running the ball a little more somehow, some way. It doesn't make sense, you know, especially in a close game. But that's the way it was. In a game, okay, that finished as a 1-score, low-scoring game, 17-10, low-scoring game. That's how it finished. And I know there's context, those second-half possessions, turnover here, there. They did have the one drive where they should have scored, right, but they fumble on the goal line. But my thing is this. In what world, in a low-scoring, one-possession close game, should Lamar Jackson have almost as many pass attempts as Patrick Mahomes? In what world would that be the formula? You talk about getting out-coached, okay, and out-schemed. When Spagnuolo and his defensive bunch for Kansas City were traveling to the stadium in Baltimore yesterday, I guarantee you they would have given you, they'd have paid anything if you could guarantee them we're going to be able to do something to trick them into throwing it 37 times and that guy running it 8 times. They'll take that all day. Promise you. And lastly, I realized there was a little brush up before the game and with a kicker and the warm-ups and stuff or whatever. Who cares on that? Little chippy in the game early, that sort of thing. But there were also 2 instances, one in each game, okay, that if you're a young player, if you're a high school player or if you're a parent of a young athlete, you need to point this stuff out to them. Trust me, this is not me just being like old-fashioned old guy, get off my grass. There were 2 instances. One, I'm talking extracurricular stuff, all right? One in the Chiefs-Ravens game, one in the Lions-49ers game that you need to point out to young football players or point out to your team and show them, don't ever be this guy. Don't emulate this behavior, and here's why. And I'll tell you what that is when we come back. All right, lots of comments. I see you. Brett and Sven and Wesley and everybody on the Murray West live thread coming to you. Also, your texts coming in. Grumpy and Johnny and Trip and others coming to you on the Country Pleasing text line when we come back. Just getting started with you on this Monday. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Go with the home team. Stick around. Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country Pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to Country Pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that, what that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area, the blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me.
1059.com.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. And over here on the Murray West live thread, Wesley reminded me. He's on Facebook. He's tuning in, and he commented, my friend Wesley from Tupelo. Said, Matt, where's your Chiefs gear? I did smooth forget it, Wesley, but if you'll notice, I did make a change during the commercial break. I went and put on my old trusty old Good Luck Chiefs cap. I realized I had my Masters hat. I got it at the yellow hat at the Masters a few years ago, and it's really comfortable. And I was wearing that Masters hat, and maybe that's because deep down inside, I'm really looking forward to spring, warm, sunshiny days, and bees a-buzz and blooming out, and flowers popping everywhere, and playing a little golf. Looking for maybe that's it. But I did make the change because you're right. Today's the day that I needed to have the Chiefs hat on. So thanks so much for there's a pun here, but thanks for the heads up. More of your comments coming up on the Murray West live thread. Speaking of Murray West, you need a Chiefs logo, or maybe not that specifically, but you need embroidery. Contract Embroidery Company right here in Mississippi. Mississippi born and raised and made right here in Mississippi since 1996. Contract Embroidery Company. And just go to their website. You'll see some of the big companies and folks that they do business with and for, and they can certainly help you. It's at murraywest.com. All right, coming to your text messages also on the Country Pleasing text line. Let me see here. Johnny from Tisdale says, due to this shiny new Peacock subscription, thanks NFL, he said, I said to myself, Self, since you never watched the show back in the day, why don't you give Parks and Rec a try? He said, now I'm on season 3. Attaboy, Johnny. It's a good one. Tell us what you think about old Ron Swanson. He's one of the better characters out there. Glad you're enjoying it. Trip text the show. All right. So here's something he's talking about. He said if Flowers doesn't mess up twice in the fourth quarter, the game ends up in a tie and at the worst, and then Baltimore has a chance to win in overtime. That's from Twip, better known as Trip. Well, yes, you're right, Trip. And look, 17-10 game, right? Chiefs just kind of hang on for dear life after, a flurry of offense in the first half. They didn't score a single point in the second half of the ball game. So they're hanging on for dear life, and they were helped by turnovers, obviously. They're on the road. Well, they were +3 in turnovers. The Ravens had 2 fumbles and the interception, 1 fumble on the goal line, 1 interception on a throw in the end zone. I mean, that's how the game was that close. And so, in some ways, you could say, well, I mean, other than the turnovers, you could say, but other than the turnovers, the Ravens outplayed the Chiefs in a lot of ways. Well, they certainly outplayed them in the second half, I felt like. And you did have these 2 crucial turnovers. But to that note, this is what I was touching on earlier, Trip. Zay Flowers, receiver for the Ravens. All right, listen. Here's your first example. Y'all, listen. If you're someone who coaches young athletes, if you're a parent of a young kid who may be an athlete someday, I want to play it, take note of this stuff, okay? Teach them this ain't the way. Here's an example of what you don't do. You don't want to do this kind of stuff. Show your team. If you're a coach, listen. Zay Flowers is the first example. He catches that long pass up the field, right? Makes a guy miss a little bit. In fact, I mean, y'all go back and look. I think it's true, but I think it was against 𝐁𝐿𝐴 Sneed who he did this to, right? Where long pass up the field, huge moment, second half. Sneed finally tackles him. And so what does Flowers do? He gets up, showboating, flexing over a guy who's still trying to get up off the ground, who's a heck of a football player, by the way. In a key moment, you're trailing in a game. It's really the first time you've popped and done anything, but you're going to get up and flex, and we're going to celebrate right here while we hadn't even gotten in the end zone yet. We just think we're going to, and in the process, taunting and throw the ball at him, and by rule, been calling it all year, back him up, personal foul taunting. Okay, first, that's dumb. We're talking team stuff right here. Don't come to me with all your silly social media and, oh, Matt, let them celebrate. Don't take the fun. It's not taking the fun. You're hurting your team. It's a team game. We're all sacrificing here for the greater good to try to win a game, and you got to do something stupid and selfish all at the same time in that moment, which is what it was, Mr. Zay Flowers. Maybe a great guy, but you're a bajillionaire to play football, and you got to know better than that in that moment. Did it hurt them? Well, yeah. Okay, set them back, kills the momentum. They got to kind of get the engine revved again, and to their credit, they revved it up again. And what happened just a few plays later? No, I'm not saying I believe in karma, but what happened a few plays later? He's trying to go into the end zone, and the guy who he taunted, Sneed, knocks the ball out on the 1 yard line, fumbled into the end zone, recovered. Chiefs, we got the football. Run that mouth some more. Go ahead and do it again. So, first of all, put that one on the tape of don't be this guy and show it to every young athlete you can show it to. Okay, first of all, because you hurt your team, and then you hurt them even more when you look like a fool. You ran your mouth earlier, and now you fumbled in the end zone. Keep your mouth shut and do your job when you're on a team. Now, here's the other one. This one wasn't quite as obvious and really, as, I don't know, out in the open. But you saw the thing, didn't you, yesterday in the Lions game where they had a guy on their sideline when they were up going into halftime, about to go into halftime, up 24-7, right? You saw the Lions player on the sideline waving goodbye. Now, keep in mind, we hadn't even gotten into the halftime locker room yet, and we got a Lions player waving goodbye to the 49ers fans. Here's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying that guy who did that is a loser. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that in that split-second moment, the firing of the synapse between the temples to decide I should wave bye-bye to the opposing fans, and we haven't even gone into the halftime locker room yet. The thought to do that is the kinds of things a loser thinks. It is a losing mentality. It's a loser thought. Even no matter what your lead is, no matter what the game has looked like to that point, to think that it is anywhere near being over with when you've got 30 minutes to play and you're going to have a 10-minute break so they can talk about it. We haven't even gotten in the locker room yet. And what happened? And that's before you get to decisions about going for it on fourth down and all that kind of stuff. Because there is no question. There's no debating it. Analytics about going for it on fourth down. And Campbell, the coach of the Lions, has been going for it on fourth down and all that kind of stuff all year long. And it got him there. That's what got him there, being, reckless at times on fourth down. Yeah, but any of those other times, it wasn't the NFC Championship game on the road, and you had the big lead, and now they have the momentum. And what you've got to do just to slow down their momentum is put some points on the board. And you're chip shot field goal range here on 4th down, and you get cute and try to go for it. You put those 3 points on the board, extend the lead. Put them up there. It's like chasing a 2-point conversion in the third quarter of any ball game. It will never be smart. Run tell coaches, I said, run tell them, all of them. We have thousands of examples of it not being the right thing to do, and you might find one example where it turned out to be the right thing to do. Don't ever go for 2 in the third quarter. What are you chasing points for in the third quarter? Put the extra point on the board. Worry about chasing points down the road when you have to. How many times has somebody thought they needed to chase a 2-point conversion in the third quarter to try to, for some reason, we got to tie it up. Instead of being down 1, we got to tie it up in the third quarter. When you get to the end of the ball game, you lose by 1. Or you got to score a touchdown because you're down by 4. And if you were down by 3, we could play overtime right here. Never, ever chase points, chasing a 2-point conversion in the third quarter of a ball game. Oh, by the way, when you were up 24-7 at halftime on the road at a team like the 49ers, and now it's the second half and they're making their run, and you've driven the ball into their territory with a chance to stop the bleeding just a little bit. On 4th down, kick the field goal. What did they lose by? What was the final score of the ball game? 34-31, a 3-point margin. Dumb. Oh, don't tell me analytics. You know what it was? Dumb. It's a dumb analytical decision. And just because you can back it up with analytics doesn't mean it wasn't dumb. Just getting started with y'all. Still feels that way, right? Your text, your comments coming up. Stick around.
Inflation has hit us hard, so
Today's game from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Time was their breakfasts were gloomy. They just didn't feel right, and they didn't know a delicious cereal could help their sad plight. So they tried this and tried that, but irregularity kept coming back all the same. For as often the case, lack of bulk in their diet was actually to blame. Once at the grocer's, the wife was so drooping and sagging that a neighbor said, "Get on Kellogg's All-Bran wagon. Why, All-Bran has a flavor that's scrumptious to eat. So rich and nut-like, makes breakfast a treat. And of course, Kellogg's All-Bran can help you each day to youthful regularity, the dietary way." "Well, it might do some good," said the wife with a sigh. "Guess I'll get some All-Bran and give it a try." Soon, breakfasts at her house were happy and bright, for delicious Kellogg's All-Bran set their day off right. Yes, All-Bran supplies all the bulk in your diet, you see, that you may need for youthful regularity. And no half-brand cereal possibly can provide this help as surely as Kellogg's All-Bran. A delicious, non-habit-forming aid to your diet. You're sure to like All-Bran. Just buy it and try it.
Get on the Kellogg's All-Bran wagon with the best bran in the land. The cereal that tastes grand, the cereal that's All-Bran, a breakfast treat that can't be beat. Be a regular guy and climb aboard the All-Bran wagon. Eat Kellogg's
What is the secret of this enchanted book? What wonders are hidden within its pages? What magical spell does it cast on all who read it? What is the secret of the never-ending story?
But that's impossible!
You will enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality. The world of Atreyu and Artax, the Rockbiter, and a good and kind gnome. A world that is vast and eternal, treacherous and dazzling, unforgettable and free. For anyone who's ever made a wish, believed in a fantasy, or had a dream, this is the never-ending story.
It's a new thing, it's a fun thing, it's a swing wing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing, it's a wing wing. A brand new transparent fun thing.
It's a what?
It's a swing wing. A fun thing. And now it's your favorite store thing.
It's a what? Mazda announces some great news for truck buyers.
Matt Wyatt has got it all for you.
Just listen to that!
At the Zone 105.9 and coming to you worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right, here we go. What you want to get into? Brett commented on the Murray West live thread. He's on YouTube. He says, Chiefs believe as long as they have Mahomes and time left, they always have a chance against anyone, which is kind of true. And this causes opponents to feel the need to continue to score or be perfect offensively, which he said leads to mistakes, and the Chiefs just punish you for it. He said folks also feel like they have to pass, which plays into the Chiefs' strengths on defense this year. I mean, there's some truth in that. Yeah. I mean, getting there, when do you need to score? For example, like if we wanted to extrapolate that thought on out a little bit, and it's speculating a little bit, Brett, kind of looking into the future here, but go with me on this. I mean, we could speculate that even though there was a good bit of time left in the game, late there, that Lamar Jackson and that offense forcing that ball into the end zone when they did was them saying, look, if we score, in order to win the game, we've got to score quickly because he's going to go on a drive, right? And by scoring quickly now, we afford ourselves to have the chance to have the ball last. But if we wait, and even if we score here in this situation with 30, 40, 50, a minute left, a minute 15 left, that's just enough time for him to beat us. We don't even get the ball back. So maybe it affects how aggressive you are earlier in the game. But at the same time, the reality is it's the Ravens. Okay, it's their defense who were pitching a shutout in the second half. And I tell you too, now look, I did not play quarterback in the NFL, but I played just enough of it to know what it's like I don't know, like sometimes you can't explain it. Now, I don't know if it's your brain seeing something that isn't there, or so you get sped up to the point where you forget to look at a key, which is reading a safety or whatever it is, or maybe you just get so amped up and confident in your momentum on a drive that, hey, look, now's the time. I'm pumping it up there. I'm giving my guy a chance. But that throw into the end zone by Lamar Jackson was a really poor decision, and he knew it. I mean, he knew it. Of course, it happens. He throws his helmet, but you could see him on the bench when T. Martin showed him and he could get a look at what the defense did. He's got one trailing that tight end behind him. He's got one running with him over the top, and he's got the other safety coming over. So by the time the ball got there, there was just no chance you're completing that. None. Ever. And so, you know good and well he's kicking himself for making that decision right there in that situation. And that was the only interception he threw in the game. But boy, howdy, it was a big one. Robert commented on YouTube on the Murray West live thread. I'm trying to pull it up here so I can see it. It says, I think the 49ers have more weapons and should score more on the Chiefs than Baltimore. Listen, how clutch was Brock Purdy running the football in that second half of that game? I don't think the 49ers win that game if he doesn't tuck the ball and run like crazy. What was his final rushing total, by the way? He had 48 yards rushing on 5 carries. Had a long run of 21. I guess all of that came in the second half. That was clutch. And I think he had 3 runs where he converted on third down. And it was just so clutch. And look, for the most part, Jared Goff played well. You look at their offensive numbers. He played well. And that's another reason. Not only the decision not to kick a field goal on 1 or maybe 2 of those drives, but guys not catching the ball. He had the 1 third down there, I guess. I'm trying to think. Was it fourth quarter? But he had the 1 big third down right about midfield where he sticks a guy right in I'm talking about the breastplate, right in the middle of the numbers. And it hits him right in the gut, and the guy don't catch the ball, which is an easy first down. And then, the trick play, the throwback pass, give it to the running back, throw it back to Goff. He loads up, throws it to the end zone. That was that Jameson Williams, the rookie out of Alabama. And, yeah, he had 2 defenders, but the ball was right there in the end zone, very catchable. And it was almost like, it's easy for us to say because we're watching it in slow-mo, but it's almost like he was anticipating contact and getting interfered with. And when he didn't get interfered with, he was not prepared to catch the ball. It's right there. Like, it's touchdown. Here it is. 2 hands, catch it. And so a huge reason why the Lions lost that game was the people around Jared Goff did not make clutch catches in the second half. You compare that to, just for example, compare that to some of the plays that you saw pass catchers make for the teams that won. Right? Ayuk, the big play down there off the batted ball, off the face mask, the tip ball. Look at the Chiefs. Look at some of those catches that Kelsey made and others. It's incredible. The teams that lost didn't have guys make plays. Somebody texted the show on the Country Pleasing text line and said, I'm not a coach, but watching the game, I got the impression the Chiefs defense rushed to keep the quarterback in the pocket, not necessarily to sack him. Yeah. There's obviously some of that for sure, where you're rushing 4 a lot, and what you want him doing is throwing in there. You don't want him breaking contain. It's like rush with contain. If he decides to tuck and run, it is north-south. But it's there. That's the thing. I'm telling you, I guarantee you that Lamar Jackson maybe he hadn't even watched it yet because the season's over, but when he sits down and watches that film, he's going to want to throw up at the yards that he left on the field against a 4-man rush, holding the ball, and I'm going to Brady this thing instead of just tuck it. And even if you squeeze through and you make 5, you made 5. As opposed to you go incomplete, now it's 3rd and 9. Grumpy texts the show. He says he knew the game was over when Kansas City's defense forced Lamar Jackson to catch his own pass. He said, I felt bad for the rookie number 4, Flowers, showing his immaturity. He will grow in character. Grumpy bets Chris Jones lost 7 pounds yesterday. He had a heck of a game. He really did. He really did. That front, the 4 guys on that front for Kansas City, they earned every single solitary last bit of their paycheck yesterday. Earned all of it. What's his name? Karlaftis? How big was that sack that he had late? It was a big mistake. You know, somebody texted about the mistakes. Look, I'm just telling you, it's a mistake. There are mistakes, and then there are, drawing a taunting penalty that everybody involved with the NFL knows, they're going to call that one. In that moment of the AFC Championship game, a game in which you have not had any of the momentum and you finally got it because you caught a big pass, and now to nullify some of that because you want to taunt? Like, where is your head? What are you thinking? I don't mind at all big celebrations and having a good time with it. Choreograph it and get together with your buddies and like have it all planned out when you score and when you win. But what are you thinking? In that moment, you've been playing in the NFL all year long. What are you in, your 18th, 19th game now? And you know they're going to call that. And you do it anyway? And you're behind? What are you thinking? What are you possibly thinking about other than your team to pull something like that off? What's going through your head other than your team to do something like that? It's about as selfish as it gets. I'm going to tell you something else, too. He wasn't the only one. How many passes did Odell Beckham Jr. catch? He caught 3 passes for 22 yards. His longest reception was 8. And the first ball that he caught was for like 4 yards, I believe, in the second half, and it converted. It was a little bitty short 4-yard throw. He caught it and fell down. They got a first down. And he jumped up and made sure everybody in the stadium saw him go, "Look at me, throw me the ball more." And I'm like, man, listen, you're a great player, okay? You caught a 4-yard pass and fell down. Here's an idea. Shut up and line up. Listen, celebrate when you score. Celebrate when you've made the stop and they're going to punt. Celebrate when you've won. You're down in the AFC Championship game at home. They've had all the momentum. And we're going to flex? What are you flexing about? You haven't done anything. And then 3 plays later, fumble going into the end zone. Again, if you're a young athlete, a young player, don't be that guy. Some of these quote-unquote old-fashioned ideas are better. They've hung around because they are smart. All right. NFL in the pocket. Basketball next as we start hour number 2 on this Reaction Monday. Stick around.
Now's the time to get a great deal on proven canola.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. You know, that's just kind of, you know, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. You know, I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. You know, when you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, you know, get pulled over, you know, need an insurance card, wind blows, you know, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people, and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
Love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I believe that home is where your pet is, and that loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you adopt an animal from a shelter, you are saving not only one, but many lives.
And that when you spay or neuter your dogs and cats, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
I believe it's time we do all we can to save the lives of homeless dogs and cats who are counting on us, because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend in a shelter, and that you can too. I'm Lisa Edelstein. I believe.
I'm Emily Lou Harris. I believe.
I'm James Avery. I believe.
I'm Travis Clark. We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
Please visit our website at ambassadors.bestfriends.org to find out more.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
We are good to go.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show. Coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone1059.com.
All right, here we go. Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Beaver's here. I'm here. We're all here together on a Reaction Monday. And it's good to see you. Staying connected to you because of C-Spire here on this Monday. C-Spire, customer inspired. Check them out, cspire.com. Oh, by the way, wherever you are, if you have wanted C-Spire fiber home internet, yeah, the good stuff. If you've wanted it, if it's available to you in your neighborhood and you hadn't, just taken that bite yet, I got a deal for you. You can get your first 2 months of C-Spire fiber home internet free. Your first 2 months of service free. Just at checkout, use code Wyatt. All caps, my last name, Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T. Go to cspire.com or call them online or go by. But just call them or go online there and sign up for C-Spire Fiber Home Internet. Get your first 2 months of service free by using my last name, code Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T, all caps. Hey, look at here, Sven. Thank you, Sven, by the way. And he says Mississippi State men's hoops beats 2 top 10 programs. That's the first time since, I believe, the 91 season. Well, I think it's been more recent than that, Sven. The reason I think that is because I was listening to the radio broadcast of the post-game interview between Neil Price and Coach Jans, of course, and Coach Richard Williams was there too. And Neil mentioned that. I think it might have been the 01-02 season, the last time that beat 2 top 10 teams there at home. And so a little over 20 years. So that's long enough. I do know that much. Listen, that's a heck of a win, man. 64-58, the final. Totals for a few of the guys look like this. You had 3 players in double figures. You got a double-double from Cam Matthews, had 14 and 11 to go along with a couple of assists in 34 minutes. You got 12 out of Shaq Moore. A couple of assists from him. He hit a 3 in the ball game. Hubbard got the start. And, I know it's a home win. It's not like you don't have one. You beat Tennessee earlier this year, but it just seemed to kind of look right. I'm not so sure that Deshaun Davis, to me, didn't look better coming off the bench. I know he didn't score a ton, but just in terms of his energy and ball handling, did have a rebound, did have an assist in there. Had one shot that he hit. I believe it was a drive and penetrate and layup. Only took 1 3, missed it, but that was coming off the bench. The State actually didn't get a ton of points off the bench, but with Hubbard in the starting lineup, that's why. He's been your points off the bench anyway. So we look at some of the other totals. But I'm going to tell you something now. Cam Matthews, my goodness. He was really on a different level in that ball game. And you don't know if it's like a matchup thing, if the ball just sort of bounced his way, but in terms of rebounding, affecting shots on defense, being aggressive without fouling, getting to the bucket, making some free throws. Let's see. What was it? He was 2 out of 6. Okay, so you still got to be – State was 50% from the free throw line. You still got to be better than that. But Auburn really hung in there at the free throw line. They were 14 out of 16. So they're pushing 90%, not quite there. Neither team really shot the lights out from 3. State shot it better from the floor. State had a big rebounding advantage in the ball game, 45-30. And that was another thing that stood out. And kind of controlled the ball game. So great crowd there. I mean, the crowds are back for the home games. And you're beating top 10 teams in there. They beat Tennessee. They beat Auburn. It's like we were talking about with women's basketball the other day. It's like some of that is you get in a car, you drive 2 hours to get up there. It's a lot easier to do that when you're not just hoping you win. You feel for sure like we're going to win. I'm going up here to watch it and then celebrate. It gets people there for sure. All right, here's a little bit of what it sounded like on the radio from Neil Price on the call with Coach Richard Williams from Learfield. Highlights of Mississippi State's win over Auburn.
in a double team, trying to get out of it. Fights his way through, now turns to the baseline again, trying to flip it out front. Finally hits Davis, around to Moore, contested three, knocks it down over Holloway. Up to Josh Hubbard, left side in front court, loops it to Tolu, straight away, angling right, turns back left, down the lane on Broom, put it up, no, dunked in by Matthews. Superman came out of the phone booth and grabbed it with two hands to throw it down. With 18-10 to play in the game, Hubbard, step back three, right wing, bingo! Josh Hubbard with a heat check. All square at 33, 13:08 to go. Hubbard off a couple screens, three left wing, tied no more. Josh Hubbard knocks down a triple. Students behind the basket down to our right raise their hands, standing in silence as Matthews eyes the mark for number 2 on this trip. On the way, it's halfway down and out. Matthews gets the board, sticks it back in thanks to a great box out from Tolu Smith. Hubbard to play it in. Broom, the big man, guards the ball. Lobs it out to Moore. Back to Hubbard. Open three. Left wing on the way and good. Josh Hubbard put it in over Broom, and the crowd goes berserk with 1:33 left. Baker Mazar brings it up for Auburn. 2 seconds left. He'll heave one from the left wing. No good, and you can wrap this one in maroon and white. State picks up its second win against a top 10 team inside the month of January. The Bulldogs knock off number 8 Auburn, 64-58.
How about that? 64-58. And now you hit the road, and we'll get into that here in just a minute, but it's pretty clear there is a big difference for everybody in the SEC. You get above those top, you get past the bottom 3 teams, bottom 2, bottom 3 teams, then everybody competing with everybody in the SEC. There's a big difference for just about everybody at home versus on the road. And you go, well, what's the big deal? What are you saying, man? I mean, I've always heard of home court advantage or home field advantage. I don't know. So far this year, teams just aren't winning on the road. Nobody is, right? It's tough. And State's about to hit the road twice, right? Go to Oxford tomorrow night, play at Ole Miss tomorrow night. And that's a really good basketball team in their place. And then this weekend, Saturday, go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama in 𝐷𝐿𝐴 Coliseum Saturday night over there in Tuscaloosa. And that's a really good team at home. And, yeah, so, you want to make a run. If you're State, you make a run at things, you got to beat some teams on the road. You got to be one of the teams that figures out a way to win some road games. Because right now, nobody's really figuring that out across the SEC. Some of the numbers on it, and then I'm going to let you hear what Coach Jans told Neal after the ballgame. Like I said, State outshot them 44% to 34%. So a 10 percentage point advantage for State shooting the basketball over Auburn. State's defense was so good and so active, and because of the rebounding advantage, Auburn was not getting a ton of second looks. What was the total? 45-30. And we'll look at some of the well, I can do it right now. So you had only 6 offensive rebounds in the entire ball game for Auburn. Again, it spoke to what State was doing defensively and boxing out and hitting the boards, not letting Auburn get 2 looks at it. Three-point shooting, and both, State hit 5, Auburn hit 6, and they both were right down there around 25%, so not great from 3. And a big advantage for Auburn at the free throw line. 14 out of 16 at the free throw line for Auburn. State was just 9 out of 18. State went 50%, so they can be a lot better there. State turned it over a few more times. They had 14 turnovers to 11 for Auburn. So, therefore, Auburn obviously had more points off those turnovers. But because of the rebounding advantage, there was a big advantage for State in the game, second chance points. State got 12 of those. Mentioned Auburn only had 3. And in the paint, State got 34 points in the paint to just 20 for Auburn. Big man advantage. Now, you didn't get any scoring from Bell. He only went in and played 6 minutes. But Tolu, 9 points. You mentioned Cam Matthews, 14. State had an advantage in there as well. And the assist to turnover. So, see, State was actually upside down in assist to turnover. Auburn was 1 to the good. Had 12 assists, 11 turnovers. State had 11 assists, 14 turnovers. It's not often that you'll be upside down in assist to turnover that they will shoot 90% or close to 90% at the free throw line and you go 50%, and you still beat a top 10 team. It is not often that it works out that way. But it did for State, and boy, how did they ever need it. All right, here is Coach Chris Jans on the postgame radio interview, a short portion of that, with Neil Price and Coach Richard Williams.
First time the Bulldogs have defeated 2 top 10 ranked teams in the same season since 2001-2002. First of all, congratulations. Secondly, how'd your guys get it done today?
So that's 22 years, is that correct? My math's not very good.
That's it.
22 years.
That's it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't it?
That's pretty cool.
That's better than pretty cool, Coach.
I'm going to make sure my guys are aware of that and be proud of it. You know, obviously this ain't the time to celebrate something like that, but at the end of the year it'd be kind of cool. But who are y'all talking about when I jumped on here?
Cam Matthews.
Whew. Wow.
Talk about him a little bit.
Wow. He did a little bit of everything for us. Okay, you and I have talked about Presso a number of times, and I'm not going to get into the fine details of why we struggle a little bit with it. I know why. But Cam is not afraid to go make the big catch, right? And so we just started moving around a little bit to ensure that we got the ball in safely, and then, you know, we could run our sets on the other end of the floor. But, you know, that shouldn't go unnoticed. He doesn't get any stats for it. They don't show up on the stat sheet. But he was a willing and able receiver, and he found himself to get open, and it helped us survive some tough inbound situations. But even just his overall game, he had the ball in his hands a ton. I thought his decision-making was pretty good. You know, obviously 11 rebounds. He just was all over the floor. Certainly 2 for 6. You know, won't make anyone happy from the line, but, you know, he was a big reason why we won the game.
You know, what we were talking about, and I told Neil before that when they're warming up, I said, Cam Matthews has a different look today. He looked like he was ready. You could just see it in his body language, his intensity level. At 14 points today. We talked about this before the game also, Neil and I did, Coach. We have to find at least a third scorer on this team to help Tolu and Josh. Not only that, we found 2 more today. Cam Matthews has 14. Shaq Moore has 12. Tolu only gets 9, but he did some other really good things. Now, how important is it? Well, I know how important it is, but to you, have you emphasized we need another scorer? We got to have somebody else step up and make shots.
You know, I don't really say that to the guys. Neil and I talked about it in pregame about that third scorer, and the candidates that I had shared with him was Shaquille Moore, you know, because of his dynamic athletic ability, his experience. You know, he's a better driver than the shooter, but he can keep you honest. And then Cam Matthews was the other one. We needed him to be a little more aggressive, maybe, to score the ball than he has in the past. But and they both did it tonight. You know, it was just, you know, luck by chance that they were the 2 guys that got double figures for us, including Josh and Tolu. And certainly, in my opinion, you know, those are the 2 guys that probably need to step up offensively to make us a better team on that end of the floor.
You know, the first half, what was 21-21, I think, first half. Both teams just, I thought, playing as hard as I've seen 2 teams play. And I made this comment also to Neil. I don't know if I've seen a team like Auburn that is athletic as they are at every single position.
Man.
Fast, quick, strong. But second half, what did you do differently on offense to make us so much better in the second half?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they just don't have a lot of holes. Efficiency-wise, offense and defense, they're top 10 in the country in both, and that doesn't happen that often unless you're really, really, really good. And like you said, how do they guard? They're athletic, they're strong, they're big, and they come at you in droves. So that's a good recipe defensively. In the second half, we wanted to run more. You know, we wanted to run more. We felt like you know, that press will put you in your heels and make you passive. We continued, you know, to try to attack the paint as best we could. But I think the biggest thing was just spreading them out a little bit more, running more sets. I thought we ran more sets so we could kind of get the guy the look that we wanted, and they did a really good job of executing. So that would be the biggest difference, is I thought we ran more sets in the second half.
So a little bit of the post-game interview there with Coach Chris Jans. Auburn's a really good team. That dropped them to 16-4, 5-2. It improved State to 14-6 and 3-4. On the Murray West live thread, go to murraywest.com, contract embroidery company based right here in Mississippi. So wherever you are, if you need embroidery, big orders, whatever, that's where you need to go. Go to Murray West, and you can find them online at murraywest.com. MURRY West.com. Robert commented on YouTube and he said, great win, but I wish we'd hire a free throw coach full time. Well, I don't know what it takes. I don't know what it takes but it is a difference maker. I mean, you can look at, what was it? Was it the Kentucky game? Was that what it was? The Kentucky game? Where we were lamenting the free throws being the big difference? Maybe it was another one. No, Florida. That's what it was. It was the Florida game, wasn't it? Meanwhile, for example, I was looking at Alabama beat LSU Saturday night, 109-88. So beat them by 21 and scored 109 points in the ballgame. And Alabama's leading scorer is Mark Sears, their point guard. He had 21 points in the game. But he hit no three-point shots. This is a point guard now. 21 points in the game. He hit no three-point shots. And he only made 5 shots from the floor all night. That's 10 points. He went 11 for 11 at the free throw line and led Alabama with 21 points in a 109-88 win. 11 from the free throw line, penetrating, getting to the free throw line, automatic when he gets there. And went 0 for 5 from three-point range, but he's the leading scorer with 21 just because he's automatic at the free throw line. And he can put it on the floor and go by anybody. There is simply nobody defensively who will one-on-one Mark Sears and keep him from penetrating into the paint. You can't do it. And so if he wants to get to the free throw line, he gets there, and then he makes the shots. Just one example. Sven commented. He said, think of this. It's only year 2 of Chris Jans as head coach. When he gets his players in, we're going to get better. And, yeah, that's right. They're working on that. Robert said, agree with you, Matt. Cam was doing all of the things that don't show up on the stat line. The deal was he had a whole bunch that did show up on the stat line. Had a double-double with 14 and 11. It's a big win for them, and boy, did they need it. Okay, and so the situation is this. So with Ole Miss beating Texas A&M on the road, Ole Miss is now 4-3 in the SEC. State is now 3-4, one game behind that, and they play each other tomorrow night in Oxford. So State's trying to figure out a way to win a game on the road at Ole Miss, and that would even them in the SEC standings at 4 wins and 4 losses. Or Ole Miss is trying to win at home over State to have a 2-game lead over a team like State and the others. And I think, you got a 3-game difference overall. So Ole Miss at 17 wins overall. I think State's at 14. Grumpy texts the show. He said, one more point. He said, Grumpy is not against spirit on the football field, but did you notice San Francisco Bosa's quarterback sack? Bosa jumps up, runs back to the huddle. Like, this is what I do. Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot of celebrating, did he? Somebody said, how great is Neil Price? I hope he has a long career calling state games. Yeah, he's fantastic and does a phenomenal job with football, but, I'm not so sure that he doesn't even do a better job with basketball. And he and Coach Williams are fantastic. They do a great job for sure. On the road stuff. Okay, so let's look at this is Saturday. Tennessee went on the road to Vanderbilt and won 75-62. Kentucky went on the road to Arkansas and won 63-57. Other than that, State beat Auburn at home in Starkville. Florida beat Georgia at home, 102-98, high-scoring game. South Carolina beat Missouri at home. Alabama beat LSU at home, and Ole Miss went on the road to beat Texas A&M. So that's what I'm saying. You get past, Vandy's 0-6 in the SEC now. I mean, Arkansas is 1-6. Those teams didn't win home games against top 5 teams in the country in Tennessee and Kentucky. So it wasn't like this weekend was an outlier in terms of teams winning on the road. It's just those matchups. But look at this. Right now, as it stands in the SEC, the best road record for any SEC team is 3-2. You got one team that's 3-3, and that's Ole Miss. They've played one more road game overall. They're 3-3. But nobody in the Southeastern Conference has more than 3 road wins. Tennessee, 3-2 on the road. South Carolina's 3-2 on the road. So is Kentucky, and so is Georgia. Ole Miss and Texas A&M are 3-3 on the road. And here's what State's looking at. Here's what State's looking at right now. State's 0-4 in road games. And they're about to hit the road, right? Yeah. Ole Miss. So Oxford tomorrow night, and then Tuscaloosa Saturday night. You want to make a road? Home is not the issue. Ask Auburn, ask Tennessee. State is really good at home, really tough at home. State is 0-4 away from Humphrey Coliseum. The only other SEC teams to have not won a road game yet are Vanderbilt and Arkansas, the 2 worst teams in the league by far. Well, I guess Missouri down there with them too. But even Missouri's won a couple of games on the road. So there's a deal for State. But nobody. Road records, 2-2, 3-2, 2-3, 3-3. Like, nobody's good on the road. And some are worse than others. I don't know what the deal is. All right. Rolling along, hour 2. Stick around.
Have you ever wished for one product that would clean and shine almost everything in your house? Here it is, Clean and Shine. Like magic, Clean and Shine leaves a nice shine on fine wood furniture, so you don't need furniture polish. It cleans and shines mirrors, so you don't need glass cleaner for mirrors. It cleans and shines refrigerators, like this kitchen product, even countertops, tile, and vinyl. Try new Clean and Shine, the foam that cleans and shines almost everything in your house.
Someday when people look at me, they'll say, there goes Roy Hobbs, the best there ever was.
TriStar Pictures presents Robert Redford in The Natural, the story of a father and a son.
You got a gift, Roy, but it's not enough.
Of love.
He means the world to me.
And desire.
I'm not waiting for true love to come along, Roy.
A champion.
A Roy Hobbs comes along once, maybe twice in everybody's lifetime.
And his destiny.
With or without the records, they'll remember you.
Best there is now, and best there ever will be.
I wouldn't bet against me.
I already have.
Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, Glenn Close, Kim Basinger, Wilford Brimley, Barbara Hershey, Robert Prosky, and Richard Farnsworth as Red. The Natural.
You know me. Would you believe I'm Bugs Bunny? I'm also the voice of many other cartoon characters. But in here, they don't care if I'm Elmer Fudd. So I carry an American Express card, the one card I need for travel and entertaining, for business and pleasure. Why, without this, the only way I'd get any attention is by saying, that's all, folks.
To apply for a card, call 800-528-8000.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports. Exclusively on Superstation TBS. Superstation TBS presents the Atlanta Braves, America's team. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. This Bud's for you. By the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, Delta. We love to fly, and it shows. And by Eckerd Drugs, America's family drugstore.
If a man you've never met before suddenly gives you flowers, that's Elation, the exciting new fragrance from Impulse.
Thursday, it's Cosby starting off a night of family fun. And leave it to Family Ties to keep the laughs coming.
Oh, no. What are we going to do? Everything's under control.
Then on Cheers, will Norm think on a friend to get a promotion?
Yeah, yes, Stone, yes.
And the fun continues with Night Court.
I'm here to strip for Dan Fielding.
Thursday.
Oh, what a meal, oh,
Hamburger Helper Lasagna.
for your family.
Authentic Italian taste.
Hearty robusto. But not too spicy, eh?
Hamburger Helper Lasagna turns your plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal with authentic Italian taste. Curly Italian noodles, rich tomato sauce, and a better blend of spices.
Hamburger. Worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right. Back with you, I'm Matt, in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go with the home team. They are your home team. Home teams win a lot. They are this year in SEC basketball. And I know there's always a home court advantage. You know, teams play better at home, and, you know, home records are always better than road records. This seems to be, so far anyway, it seems to be a year where in SEC men's basketball, anyway, just looking at it a minute ago, pretty clear that, you know, it's a really tough league. You know, there are quite a few good teams, right? And, you know, ranking here and that one's not ranked aside, none of that. I mean, Alabama, they're not ranked. Okay, well, they just beat Auburn at home and they lead the league. They're 6-1. You know, they may win the league and they're not ranked. Okay, so Auburn just lost 2 road games on the, you know, in the SEC back to back, one in Tuscaloosa, one in Starkville. Auburn's got the kind of team, they hit the NCAA tournament, they may go win the whole thing and everybody knows it. Here's an opinion for you. RT, he texts the show. Country Please and text line. Number to text, 885-3776, 601 number, 885-3776. You can also text 885-ESPN. Same thing. RT said, home teams win. Rebs win at home. State will win at the hump. He says State will make the Sweet 16. Ole Miss will have a first-round victory. And then he says, trust me, home teams win. He says, when Rod Barnes and Rob Evans coached, we never lost at the Tad Pad. He said we could have beaten the Harlem Globetrotters at the Tad Pad. Yeah, like I said, I know there's always an advantage. You know, and let's be real, okay, RT, just if I look at it honestly, if I step back and look at it honestly, one reason that it may jump out to me a little more this year, last year in this, is because, frankly, as a State fan, we had a long stretch where there wasn't much of an advantage of being at home, not at least in terms of crowd. There wasn't much of a crowd noise and atmosphere advantage. And, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those years when Rick Ray was the head coach post Stansbury, and a lot of those years that Ben Howland was the coach, where the fan support and the connection with the fan base was not there, and therefore they were not there for home games. And you didn't, as a State fan, you didn't feel like you had much of an advantage at your place. And so maybe that's why it feels a little different now, because, I mean, the crowds are back. You could see it last year coming back, and just, you know, with the success of the team last year from State and being a tournament team and getting in and winning a few games and sort of just having a pulse, having an identity. And they still haven't gone out and signed a whole class of scorers, but they still are really competitive. And you got, you know, guys like Tolu and Hubbard who can score for you pretty consistently at home. And so the crowds are back, the atmospheres are back. And here you are, first time since 01-02. You got 2 wins over top 10 teams. But I also think it's a little more than that. Just me as a State fan, from my perspective, I think, the numbers back it up. If you look across the league, it's a really good league. It's a really good league. And wherever you go, teams are really tough outs. Ask Auburn. Yeah, Tennessee beat Vandy. Connect went for 32 for Tennessee in that game against Vandy. Okay, so those are Saturday. So tomorrow night, the State and Ole Miss game is one of them. There's another one before that. Should be a good game. Could be. But again, it's South Carolina, a really good team who are 5-2, 17-3 overall, going on the road. They're at Tennessee tomorrow. 5:30 tip for that one. South Carolina at Tennessee. That'll be in the SEC Network. And then following that one, 7:30 tip-off time for State at Ole Miss in the Pavilion. Now, on that note, RT, he's an Ole Miss fan, and he said for 3 years, no advantage. Pavilion is not loud enough. Yeah. I've been to one game in there. Okay, and it was, I think, the year that it opened when Ole Miss hosted State. And that was pretty good atmosphere then. I mean, it was pretty loud. It wasn't like it was full to the brim, but I just remember coming away going, man, what a beautiful place that is. That is such a nice arena. I was in there one other time, but not for a game. But I think that was the only game I was in there for. But, man, it's so nice. And the renovation stuff, we hadn't talked about it a ton on this show, but the renovation stuff at the Hump is really nice at State. It's improved it. I mean, it definitely has improved it. And everything's a little bit better experience for the fans. And so that's part of it also. That with a team coming off a tournament appearance, and now you've beaten some teams at home. You got that home court advantage. But that's the name of the game in the SEC. Woohoo, we won some home games. Okay, well, now travel 2 in a row. So State goes to Ole Miss tomorrow night, and then to Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. That'll be tough. Back home to host Georgia in a week, midweek next week. They'll host Georgia on the 7th, and then hit the road and go to Missouri. So let's just say worst case scenario, if you're a State fan, State's 0-4 right now on the road. Let's say worst case scenario, they lose at Ole Miss tomorrow night, lose at Tuscaloosa on Saturday. When they go to Missouri on February 10th, that ought to be a pretty decent chance to win a road game. Not saying they will, but at least be a pretty decent chance. And then after that, okay, if you get to mid-February, what is the finishing stretch? Arkansas at home, Ole Miss at home, LSU on the road, Kentucky at home, at Auburn, at A&M, and finish the year by hosting South Carolina at home. So coming up, remainder of the year, you got a back-to-back road stretch here. You got to get on into late February to have a back-to-back home stretch with Arkansas, Ole Miss. You have another back-to-back road stretch in early March. So you got 2 times in the remaining schedule where you will have back-to-back road games. So again, you want to make a run at something, improve your status, and you got to win some road games. There it is. All right. Over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact, means they've been doing it better, longer than anyone else right here at home at Davini. Call from Chuck on line 1. What's up, Chuck?
Hey, how you doing there, Matt?
Just right.
How you doing? I might be a little bit under the weather today, but Auburn played terrible Saturday night. That was crazy. That was terrible. How you gonna let a guy under 6 feet tall shoot off of you like an astronaut shooting a basketball from outer space? That's just crazy. That's terrible. And then you got Bruce Pearl on the sideline over there flustered and mad and getting cherry red like an angry gangster from New York that just got his double-decker cheeseburger taken away. That's insane, Matt. That don't make no sense. It's terrible.
Did you say he's getting cherry red? Is that what you said?
He's getting all cherry mad, flustered, very mad and sweaty. He ought to be mad because we haven't even beaten a Quad 1 team yet. How are we going to be the 8th-ranked team in the country and not even have a Quad 1 win? That's a knucklehead move right there. That's terrible.
Terrible.
Crazy.
Okay. Well, but Auburn's still pretty good. So they still got a chance to win it all, Chuck. So don't lose hope just yet.
We're just not pretty good against Quad 1 teams.
Mm-hmm. I got to look that up. Chuck, can I call you Chuck? You don't mind if I call you Chuck, do you?
You can call me anything. Just don't call me Shirley, knucklehead.
And thanks for the call, Chuck. Thank you. Did I just get called a knucklehead? And thanks for the call. Knucklehead. Auburn, after back-to-back losses on the road at Alabama State, they now get to host Vanderbilt at home. And I guess that'll be Wednesday night. And then they will travel to Ole Miss in Oxford at first week of February, and then come back and host Alabama in the rematch of that one. By the way, I think they did rank Alabama. They got them in the top 25 now, if you're interested in that sort of thing. I mentioned 2 games tomorrow, which is State and Ole Miss is part of it. The Wednesday night games, Georgia hosts Alabama. Kentucky hosts Florida. Missouri will host Arkansas. Good gracious. That's 1-6 versus 0-7 in Missouri. And like I said, Wednesday night, Auburn's going to host Vandy. So hopefully Chuck will get that bad taste out of his mouth on Wednesday night. Auburn will whoop up on Vanderbilt at home at Neville Arena. All right. A little bit of time left with you. See what we get into next here in the Bureau. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now.
On 1059.com.
Here we go. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. A lot to be thankful for on this Monday. Like hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. And I just realized I have poured that coffee in the little cup that came on the top of my thermos instead of my actual coffee cup, which I am drinking out of. And that's because I was trying to talk and do two things at the same time here. And that's one thing I've learned about myself. I can multitask as long as it does not require a whole lot of focusing on all these multitasks. I need to focus on one thing. Somebody who is not that way is a homecoming queen.
Hello.
Hello, Annabeth.
You're a multitasker.
But not like you.
No, you're not.
How is it possible? You can be like typing a text to your mom on your phone. Halfway talking to Mary Liddy and still hear every word on a television show and not miss anything.
I don't know.
I don't know how you do that.
I think it's a female thing. Hey, Beaver.
Hey, Annabeth.
How are you?
Beaver got a haircut today.
Oh,
I was going.
Say what?
I was good until that last call that you took, Matt.
Oh, no. Did you have a bad call?
No. We had somebody.
Pretty awful.
I think it's my friend Ryan. He was impersonating Chuck or Charles Barkley.
Oh, I missed that.
And so he got on the air as Chuck.
You didn't miss anything. You missed if it was Ryan, you missed. It was about as good as every other impersonation that he calls and does.
Well, see, Beaver and I differ in that. I like when Ryan does it.
How about Charles Barkley? What was his nickname?
The Round Mound of Rebound.
Well, who was the mailman? Have we discussed this?
That was Karl Malone.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you used to have some great
There used to be a lot of nicknames. Do they still have nicknames for basketball players? I don't watch basketball anymore.
I don't think they do.
You don't really watch it either.
Well, I don't watch the NBA like I used to. I don't think they do have nicknames like that.
Back in the day.
Hey.
The mailman.
None of them are as good a nickname as Beaver.
Beaver, yeah, no.
Right?
No.
But back in the day, you did have the mailman. You had Sir Charles, which before that, when he was in college, they called him the Round Mound of Rebound because he was kind of pudgy.
Yeah.
And he was so good, though. You had Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Shaq. That was kind of his name, though, wasn't it?
Dr. J.
Yeah.
Julius Erving was Dr.
Cool
J.
Names.
What am I leaving out? There are others.
Oh, you have on your Kansas City hat?
Okay.
Of course you do.
Yeah, because Wesley.
You're so excited.
Our friend Wesley commented at the beginning of the show. I had the Masters hat on, and he commented at the beginning of the show on the Murray West live thread. He's on Facebook, and he said, "Where's your Chiefs gear?" And I went, "I didn't even think of that."
Matt, how could you not?
I just didn't think of it. That's another thing. I don't do a very good job of thinking about appearance.
No.
And so
I'll give you that. It's
know,
okay, Matt. It's okay. It's not a priority.
No, it's just not.
And it's okay.
In fact, again, I have reached a point. I told you this the other day. I've reached a point where here's what I would like.
Yeah. A uniform every day.
I want a uniform every day.
Maybe we need to get you and Beaver.
The same pants, the same shirt.
You need to talk to your Murray West buddies and get the logo.
Yeah.
Put on a couple of shirts, and y'all can wear them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, see,
done.
I don't know if Beaver would go. We'd have to cut the sleeves off for Beaver.
Okay. Well, Beaver can design his own. And then you can get some good-looking shirts.
Yeah. I may have to do that. Well, you know, we could.
And then people might want to buy some of them.
Yeah.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Taylor Swift. She wore that jacket with Travis's number on it, and all these people went nuts.
I don't want to look at Taylor Swift anymore. I saw enough
I know, but
during the broadcast.
I mean, I'm just telling you. This whole Swifties, these people are going nuts, and I bet that the Super Bowl viewership will be even higher only because of Taylor Swift.
Of
her Swifties are following football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you now. Look, the Chiefs have, in terms of the overall fan base in the country, like rooting against them, the Chiefs have two things working against them. One is success. It's like the Patriots. Or, you know, there for a while. Or you know, even when the Bulls had Michael Jordan, you know, if you didn't have a reason to be a fan, you kind of hated them because they were winning all the time. You get tired of them, right? People did that with Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson and folks like that in NASCAR. They're always there. I'm sick of seeing the same one, right? So they have that going against them, but then they also have the Taylor Swift thing going against them, too.
You know, to clarify, I'm not a Swiftie.
Yeah.
I'm just been reading a lot about that. I just think it's interesting.
It is. Yeah. Back to the uniform thing.
Okay.
Back to that real quick.
Well, let's just pick out some shirts, and let's ask Murray West to do a logo.
Okay.
Okay? And then you can hang all those in your closet every day and pick one each day.
Well, see, and people look at me, I'm sure, at different times and think, well, Matt sure does. He must be he's such a diehard State fan because all he ever wears is State stuff.
Well, you do receive things from
that's the thing.
Your friends at the golf place. They have great looking things.
I mean, I love State. Went to school there, played there, worked there. I love it. It's my team. I am a fan, no question. It's just that you can't look at me and say that I'm a bigger fan than somebody else. There are lots of people who are bigger fans than me, but they don't wear this like a.
Well,
it's just that's what I have.
I will say, you know, Taylor Swift has all these eras, the Eras tour. You are very much so in your athleisure era. You wear a lot of athleisure wear, Mississippi State. That's just kind of what you wear these days.
That's what I wear.
Mary Liddy is in that.
Oh, yeah.
That age group. If anybody out there has a daughter who's 10 to 13, 14. I mean, all they want to do is wear Lululemon, athleisure wear, all these little things. So that's what you're in. You're just in your Mississippi State athleisure wear era. Does that describe you pretty well?
It does. Yeah.
And it's winter. Everybody wants to throw on something warm, comfy.
Which is good when you're pudgy like me. You can cover up your fat. Listen.
But you got your fluffy face.
What about cargo?
You.
Yeah, got that going for me. What about cargo pants?
Is Beaver still on here, or is he?
He's on here.
Beaver, Matt and I don't agree on the cargo pants situation. Matt thinks that cargo pants
they're great,
are the best things ever, and that he said he's of the age where he really likes a lot of pockets so he can carry what he needs, like a fourth grade boy.
A fourth grade boy.
You know, like, let me put my toys in my pockets.
These cargo
some
pants,
snacks for later. And Matt is too old to be really pushing the cargo pants.
Well, I don't understand that.
What are you putting in them, Matt? You don't have a lot of things you need to carry.
I always have like camera batteries, extra chapstick. These pants have a hidden cell phone pocket.
Oh, good.
Like It's so convenient, and they're comfortable. I just like the luxury. If I need to carry more things, I can.
Okay.
Because I have pockets, right?
I have thoughts.
What are they?
Now, I know that somewhere along the way, cargo pants got pretty much demonized. It was decided that we don't wear cargo pants anymore. I never knew why exactly. But I will say, Matt, maybe take this into account. The last cargo pants I remember having, I was 17. I got them from Abercrombie and Fitch,
Yes.
and I referred to them as my boy band pants. I felt like I was in NSYNC. So fast forward to all these years later.
Oh, thank you.
And
Beaver.
think about that. I don't know that you want to consider yourself in a boy band.
Matt's practicing his moves.
Yeah.
He wants to be in a boy band in his cargo
But
pants.
what if you don't care about any of that?
Matt,
That's what I'm
well,
saying.
listen,
What if it's totally practical?
Beaver, Matt will order them. I mean, he will go online and be like, I found some cargo pants.
I'm telling you. And they're cheap.
Well, you know
Now, like I said, I still don't fully understand where they became such like a terrible part of clothing in our minds.
They're probably cheap because nobody else is ordering them except for you. I don't think they're terrible. Cargo pants remind me of maybe the beach. Maybe you
Really?
kind of beachy, like
Really?
put some flip flops on with them. Do they seem that way?
I
They're
just
kind of slouchy.
I don't know about any of this.
Well,
I really don't. Okay,
mean,
the boy band thing.
That's funny, Beaver.
It's pretty funny. So years ago, when we did a radio show before this one, and my radio partner was Richard Cross. Richard did the basketball game on TV this weekend, and he did a great job. But I'll never forget the first day I showed up to do that radio show. It was the first day we ever did it. The first day ever.
It was right when Mary Lydia was born.
Right when Mary Lydia was
You
born.
were good to just be awake.
Right.
Honestly.
And I went to wherever we were doing the radio show, and I showed up. And the first thing Richard said to me was, he goes, "Are those linen cargo pants?"
Okay.
And I went,
Okay.
first of all, what's linen? Secondly, what are you talking about?
You know what linen is.
And then thirdly, why do you care?
Yeah. Matt, I'm pretty sure in all of your years, you've never looked at another guy and said, hey, are those whatchamacallit
I
pants
don't
or
notice
jeans
it.
or shoes? Matt's oblivious to all of that. It is not a top priority.
I haven't
which is
noticed it
fine,
yet.
Which is good.
I have not gotten to the point yet where I noticed it.
Matt, if you're happiest in cargo pants, I love you just the way you are.
You know,
pockets and all.
Do you know what's in all these pockets of my cargo pants?
Probably chocolate.
Parts of my heart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And your heart.
Star Crunch.
I've got your heart right here in these cargo pants.
He can carry little Debbie's in his pockets.
Extra brownies and some tater tots.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, go find your own.
Go get your own. All right. For HQ and Beaver.
Goodness.
Speaking of nicknames, we'll see y'all tomorrow. See ya.